Hi Victoria, welcome to your reading. This is going to be for 30 minutes. Okay, so you basically only have two questions you wanted to ask about your husband, and you want to know if you're going to be leaving the relationship. Let's work on that question first. I have a couple of decks set up here. Let me go ahead and shuffle. We're going to use two decks the way I always do in the monthlies. Let's go ahead and shuffle and see what comes up for you. Show me the energies around Victoria leaving her husband. Will Victoria leave her husband? Will Victoria leave her husband? Show me the energies around this. Will Victoria leave her husband? Will Victoria leave her husband? Show me the energies around this. Will Victoria leave her husband? 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 Okay, so I think I've shuffled enough. Let's go ahead and start with 9 cards. Will Victoria leave her husband? You have Justice. Will Victoria leave her husband? Page of Swords. Will Victoria leave her husband? The Hierophant. Will Victoria leave her husband? The Two of Wands. Will Victoria leave her husband? Knight of Wands. Will Victoria leave her husband? King of Swords. Will Victoria leave her husband? The Emperor. Will Victoria leave her husband? The Empress. Will Victoria leave her husband? The Seven of Wands. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we get here. I mean, I kind of get an idea of what the cards are trying to say. I feel like, you know, there was something pushing you to kind of like perhaps move away from him, but I feel like that would take time and really making decisions. Okay, so let's focus on the first row here. You've got the Justice card, the Page of Swords, and the Hierophant. So the Justice card, this can represent a divorce, because this can represent kind of legal proceedings, you know. But over here you've got the Hierophant, which can represent marriage, and I don't always get that. Like, you know, when I do a reading, I don't always get that the Hierophant has to do with marriage, because usually it's a spiritual energy and it has to do, you know, with kindred spirits and soulmates. But for you, I'm getting this is divorce and this is marriage, and then there's honesty right in the middle of this, the Page of Swords. So I feel like, you know, there's a need to be really honest with yourself. I feel like, you know, if there is going to be a divorce, it's got to be, again, this is what I said as soon as I saw the cards, it's got to be what you decide. Like, there's nothing kind of, you know, written in the stars, you know, Victoria's going to leave her husband. It's going to be something that you decide. I feel like you've got to be completely honest with yourself, and then once you know what you want, then you've got to communicate that to your husband. The Page of Swords. This page represents honest communication. Even if it hurts, even if it's painful, it's like, here's the truth. You know, and that truth is surrounded by marriage and divorce. So in the second row, you've got an air sign at sea, because you did tell me, see, you are Capricorn, and you did ask about someone else. Yeah, because I know you mentioned someone named Paul, but I don't think you didn't mention his zodiac sign. And your husband is a Virgo, because there's an air sign here, but this can be somebody's moon or rising sign. This would be Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. Now, as far as, you know, moving forward, as far as, you know, a divorce, because I feel like that's what this represents. I feel like this is not something that would happen right away. The Two of Wands. This is a card of delays and waiting. And you know, this King of Swords, it's either your husband or I feel like it's either your husband or you. Again, this can be a moon sign or a rising sign. But this is the energy of like waiting. Like somebody's eager to move forward. I mean, we'll see what the cards say about Paul. But this Knight of Wands, this is kind of determined, you know, to kind of see action. All the knights represent change and movement. And this one's determined to see action. For things to move forward. There's an eagerness to move forward, but then there's a delay. I feel like, you know, you might start thinking about divorce. And then you may not want to have that conversation up there. And, you know, things could slow down until you finally decide that, you know, that you're ready. Now, down here, this is interesting. I've only seen this combination right here. Like, actually, I saw it yesterday in a reading. I think yesterday, the day before yesterday. But before that, I had never seen these two together. Like, you know, this entire time I've been on YouTube. Which has been, I think, since 2012. You've got the Emperor and the Empress right next to each other. So this is kind of like divine masculine, divine feminine energy here. They're together. You know, when you're asking about your husband, it's almost like, again, I mean, I've never seen this combination like they're right next to each other in a private reading. I mean, until like maybe yesterday or the day before. But this could represent kind of like, you know, a twin flame connection, divine masculine and feminine. And then there's, you know, a confrontational energy. And it could be, I mean, they're here, but it could be that, you know, your husband feels that, you know, you are the one. Because I feel like if you try to divorce him, I mean, there's confrontational energy here. This is someone that's not willing to kind of, you know, lay down and die. The Seven of Wands is, you know, fighting energy, really speaking up for yourself. But I mean, I do see a divorce up there with the Justice card, but yet I see a marriage and the truth in the middle. I mean, I feel like you'll be perhaps eager to, you know, maybe you like want to move forward with a divorce, but I feel like you might put that off. And it could be that you need to figure out how you feel. Again, this kind of feels like a really strong connection. If it's not actually twin flame, you know, which I don't take lightly, it's just, you know, a really strong bond. And then someone willing to fight for that. Okay, let me get a few more cards for you. Show me the energies around Victoria leaving her husband. We've got the Four of Cups. Victoria leaving her husband. The Queen of Wands. Victoria leaving her husband. The Seven of Swords. So, I mean, you've got another court card here. This would be a fire sign. Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. Both of you guys are earth signs. Virgo and Capricorn. But again, it's going to be a moon or rising. This has to be, again, this has to be you or your husband. I mean, you've got unhappiness around it. You know, the Four of Cups. This is not, it's not misery. The Five of Cups is misery, where you're downright miserable. But with the Four of Cups, you feel like something's missing. You don't even know what it is. You just feel like something's missing, and you feel unfulfilled on some level, and it's kind of made you numb and not even care anymore. You know, it's funny. I just realized you mentioned the Seven of Swords in your email, and now you get it. So the Seven of Swords is kind of saying, like, you know, stop and don't be your own worst enemy. Don't be your own worst enemy. This can be self-deception. I mean, I am going to get a lot more cards for you because you only have 2 questions. But, you know, I feel like there's an energy around you up there of, like, you know, something's missing. Like you're unfulfilled. And it could be, I mean, I feel like they want you to kind of, you know, figure things out. There's got to be some waiting before you move forward with any type of divorce or other relationship. But also the Seven of Swords. I mean, it's saying, like, don't lie to yourself. And the Seven of Swords is that energy of don't stick your head in the sand, because there is unhappiness up there with the Four of Cups. A feeling just like, you know, like something's missing. I don't know what it is, but something's missing here when it comes to this marriage. Okay, let me shuffle the confirmation deck that I always use in the monthlies. Show me the energies. Show me the energies around Victoria leaving her husband. Show me the energies around Victoria leaving her husband. Show me the energies around Victoria leaving her husband. Show me the energies around Victoria leaving her husband. Show me the energies around Victoria leaving her husband. Okay, so let's move this way. Show me the energies around Victoria leaving her husband. The High Priestess, Victoria leaving her husband. The Star, Victoria leaving her husband. The Eight of Swords. Yeah, so I mean, first, you know, you get this message of like being unfulfilled, feeling like something's missing, and you know, the Seven of Swords, which you mentioned, you mentioned your email. Here it is again, kind of saying like, don't lie to yourself. You know, it's time to see. It's time to see the truth here. And now the High Priestess is saying, listen to your intuition. Listen to your intuition. I know you phrased your question like, you know, will I leave my husband? You know, like I said, there's nothing kind of written in stone. There is nothing that's kind of, you know, that's written that Victoria will leave her husband. That will be up to you. That's a decision that you make. But again, the High Priestess is saying, use your intuition, like, you know, as far as what you should do, because you have this energy right here, the Eight of Swords, of feeling trapped, of feeling like perhaps this marriage is making you feel kind of, you know, you feel suffocated, and you may feel trapped, and you know, there's something up there with that Four of Cups. There's just something there, even if it's something small, where you feel a bit unhappy. And you know, you did mention somebody else. You know, we're going to look into that, but I feel like if you were completely, you know, fulfilled and happy with your husband, you wouldn't, like, any type of hormones regarding, you know, someone else would not even be an option. It would be like, you know, like out of the question. So I feel like, you know, this is saying, even if it's just, you know, something that you think you're imagining, there's an energy there of feeling trapped. Maybe you're holding yourself back out of fear, or you're staying in that marriage out of fear, and you know, the energy of feeling unfulfilled. I feel like you may want to move forward, but I feel like, you know, you're taking your time, and I almost feel like your husband is like willing to like fight for you. I mean, I see it down here with the Emperor and the Empress right next to each other. That again, divine masculine, feminine energy. This is someone that's willing to fight, very fiery energy. But again, at the top, the Truth, surrounded by divorce and marriage. And when it comes to, like, listen to your intuition, I forgot this card here. When it comes to what you want, I mean, you got to use your intuition. The Star represents hopes and wishes. Also inner guidance. I don't always get that. I feel like you already know, like, you know, what you need to do. You already know what will bring you happiness. You already know what's bringing you unhappiness. Let's get a few more cards. Let's phrase it this way. Should Victoria leave her husband? Three of Cups. Should Victoria leave her husband? Ace of Cups. Wow. Should Victoria leave her husband? The Star just repeated itself. And I mean, look at what it came out after. I mean, the Eight of Cups, this is moving on. I mean, this is not a divorce card. The Justice is, but it is a card of moving on, saying goodbye. And, you know, and I specifically thought, instead of asking, will you, let's ask, should you? And should you leave? I mean, I feel like there would quickly be somebody else. I mean, you've got the Three of Cups. That's also a marriage card, but it also just represents a lot of happiness. It's the total opposite of the Four of Cups, which you have over here. This is feeling like something's missing. This is being on top of the world. You feel like celebrating. It's like an emotional high. So I feel like there would quickly be another relationship should you leave. You have the Ace of Cups, which is a new beginning. A new beginning comes as you kind of move on because you have the Eight of Cups again. Goodbye. Choosing to move on to find happiness elsewhere. And I feel like you would find it. You have the Star, you know, which is a repeat card because it's right here. You would find, ultimately you would find, you know, that person that, you know, doesn't kind of leave you feeling unfulfilled. I just get the feeling that, you know, your husband may not want the separation. Your husband may not want the divorce. And I feel like you would really like take your time. Again, you have the Two of Wands under here. You would really need that time to figure things out. But I feel like in time, I feel like if you try to move forward too quickly, you know, with another relationship, I feel like things could fall apart. It just feels like this is something that happens very kind of slowly as you begin to realize exactly what you want. Okay, let's look at the other question. You said, okay, so this is actually about Paul, and you want to know, is Paul who I am to get what I deserve? Let's see. Okay, so I have another deck here. Let me shuffle it, focusing on that question. Let's ask the question. I see what you're asking. And sometimes the way you ask a question, you saw how the energy changed when I rephrased your question there. Let's ask, because I see what you're saying here. Show me the energy around Paul and Victoria in a romantic relationship. Show me the energies around Paul and Victoria in a romantic relationship. Show me the energies around Paul and Victoria in a romantic relationship. Is this meant to be? Or is this just some sign towards her marriage? I don't know if you heard that, but I'll show you what card it was. A card that just kind of jumped and then went back into the deck. Show me the energies around Paul and Victoria in a romantic relationship. Show me the energies around Paul and Victoria in a romantic relationship. Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. Show me the energies should this happen. Okay, so let me get these out of the way. I feel like, you know, especially these last few cards that I pulled for you really gave a clear message that should you choose to move on from your husband, I feel like you would definitely like find someone quickly. I mean, it could be Paul. We'll go ahead and look into that right now. I feel like you would quickly, very quickly move on. But I see a bit of unhappiness here. Then you have that Eight of Swords telling me that on some level we may kind of feel trapped. And then right away, right here, divorce, marriage, the truth. I feel like there could be a very, you know, honest conversation. Okay, so the cards that kind of jumped, made a lot of noise, and then went back into the deck was the Emperor, which, you know, you also had with the first question. Now we're asking about Paul. This is a completely different question. We're asking about Paul and you in a romantic relationship. And I feel like the Emperor jumped the way that it did, and it kind of went back into the deck because this is about stability. This is about taking charge. So again, this is what I was telling you in question 1. It would have to be a decision that you would make. This is you taking charge, clearing the way for a new relationship. But this is just a jumping card. Let me put it back in there and we'll see if it comes up again. Show me the energy around Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. We've got the Page of Coins, Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. The Ace of Wands, Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. The Ace of Swords, Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. The Eight of Coins, Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. The Four of Coins, Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. Page of Wands, Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. Five of Swords, Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. The High Priestess again, Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. The Knight of Swords. Okay. So, I mean, I see possibilities here. Let's look at the first row. I see possibilities. You have the Page of Coins, the Ace of Wands, and the Ace of Swords. So you've got the energy of two new beginnings there. The Ace of Wands and the Ace of Swords. Both are new beginnings. But you start off with this message of caution from the Page of Coins saying, like, do your homework before, you know, deciding to get involved with this person. So it does seem, I mean, I know your question was, you know, is this something kind of past life related? You know, is this just kind of like actually a message about my own marriage and not about Paul? There is, you know, some type of new beginning there, like a new opportunity for you. But the Page of Coins is saying, like, do your homework, look at this very carefully. Like, what is this really what you want? And you've kind of got an eye-opening message on the third row, which we'll get into in a minute. But, you know, with that Ace of Wands, this is not just a new beginning, this could be a new life. An entirely new, a fresh start for you. But again, the Page of Coins is saying, is this really what you want? Look at it very carefully. That's probably why you had the Two of Wands with the first question. And the Ace of Swords is, you know, this is about clarity and truth. And you did have the Page of Swords, which I think was like right here in question 1. The Ace of Swords is clarity and truth. Like, you know, this new life from the Ace of Wands could open up to you as, you know, your mind opens and, you know, you kind of embrace the truth. But the Page of Coins is saying, look at this very carefully. Yes, there's kind of, you know, a new opportunity there. Now here, this gives us more information. You know, I feel like, you know, something with Paul is a possibility. The reason you had the Two of Wands, actually the Two of Wands was in this exact same position as, you know, as a delay in waiting. This message is saying it would take a lot of effort for you to feel like, you know, this is exactly the kind of relationship I should be in. Because it could be that you're different people. I mean, I know you mentioned there was a spark there, but the Four of Coins, this is kind of, you know, resisting, holding on really tight. And I'm trying to see, like, you know, is it you or is it him? And it kind of, you know, honestly, as the more I talk, I feel like it could be, I feel like it's you. And it probably has something to do with your marriage. You know, the message here that I'm getting is the Page of Wands. This is kind of, again, this is just a new path for you. The Page of Wands is about, you know, very fiery energy, looking for your own opportunities, looking for your own adventures. Should you want to be in a relationship with this person, you would need to be in that type of mentality. That's probably why you have the Ace of Swords up there. That's a new way of thinking, a new perspective. But I feel like, you know, you may want to just hold on to what you have. It would take a lot of effort for you to kind of, you know, be open after, you know, so long. I think you mentioned 20 years with your husband, to move on to this other opportunity, which is exactly what it is. It's an opportunity with those two aces right next to each other. Now, this is almost funny. Five of Swords, the High Priestess, Knight of Swords. So you had the High Priestess in question 1. It came up from the confirmation deck, and then here she is. Again, saying you're very intuitive, listen to your intuition. You don't want to make a wrong decision. In the first spread, you had the Seven of Swords, you know, which is that energy of being your own worst enemy or self-deceit. And then you get something very, very similar. I always mention in my monthly readings that this card, you know, is that red flag energy, just like the Seven of Swords. This is about a decision that you could regret. This is sabotage, like, you know, sabotaging your own life. That's probably why you start with the Page of Coins, saying, look at this very carefully. And that's probably why you had the Two of Wands right here in question 1, if you go back. It's just saying, like, really be sure about this decision, because this could be sabotage. And the High Priestess is saying, listen to your intuition. Your intuition is right. And this could be about things like moving forward too quickly. That's what I was telling you before. You have the Knight of Swords, which represents things changing very, very quickly, very suddenly. And it could be, I'm going to get a few more cards, but it could be that this person, Paul, I don't know how he feels about you, but it could be that, you know, he wants things to kind of move at a certain pace or move forward. Don't do that until you really listen to your intuition, because this is a card of regret, basically, where you wish, looking back in hindsight, you wish you could erase a decision that you made. because you feel that, you know, everything was ruined. But, you know, could he be a possibility? Yes, especially with those two aces up there. But they are telling you to look at this very carefully. Let me get a few more cards for you. Show me the energies around Victoria having a relationship with Paul. Knight of Wands. Interesting, because you had this Knight with question 1 as well. Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. Page of Swords again. Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. You had this one as well. Okay, let's put it there. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm telling you. There's a possibility there. With 3 of Cups, there's a possibility for happiness. Even, you know, a long-term relationship. And I feel like someone, it could be him, that Knight of Wands, you had that before. That's eagerness to move forward. Someone really, really wants to move forward, see what's there. With the Page of Swords, once again, is saying, like, but be honest. Be honest. I mean, the Page of Swords is just being completely honest. I feel like, you know, with not only with yourself, with Paul, with your husband. And now you've got the 2 Knights. You've got the Knight of Swords here and the Knight of Wands. So there is something, there is movement. It's not just your imagination, and it's probably not, you know, your feelings towards him and maybe what you think is bringing you together. It probably is a little bit more than just kind of like, you know, the way you treat your husband. There's something there. But again, there would have to be a lot of honesty and listening to your intuition, because there could be something you could regret if you move forward too quickly, which is, you know, what I see right here. This Knight of Swords is things changing very, very quickly. We just need to be honest, because I feel like someone's very eager to move forward with that Knight of Wands. Let me get a few more cards from the confirmation deck. Show me the energies around Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. 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 Okay, so let's move this way. Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. Page of Cups, another page. Victoria and Paul in a romantic relationship. 8 of Wands. Wow. Page of Swords again. Okay, so there's a lot of pages. There's a lot of pages in this reading. Page of Cups, Page of Swords. Page of Cups, oh again, there's so many, I'm getting confused. Page of Cups, Page of Coins, Page of Swords, Page of Swords. I feel like there's a lot to say with this person. I mean, the pages are all communication. We've got 4 pages in this reading. There's a lot to say. Let me look at your email, see what else you said about him. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I mean, all these pages are there for a reason. Like, this is about communication. And, I mean, basically what I'm seeing just in these last 3 cards that I pulled for you is that I feel like someone will kind of, you know, there could be a declaration of love. That's one of the meanings for the Page of Cups. Someone just saying, you know, here's what I'm feeling, and being completely honest. This is honesty. This is, you know, speaking from the heart. And this is the relationship kind of moving forward. So again, just to answer your question, what you asked, it's not, you know, it could be past life related, but it's not just, you know, your feelings for him are not just kind of to trigger something towards your husband. There's something there, but the question is, would you want to explore that? I feel like once there's a lot of communication, because I mean there is in this reading with all the pages, I feel like there will be, you know, like somebody really speaking, you know, from their heart, saying what is in their heart, and then, you know, being completely honest about maybe reconnecting. There's going to be some unexpected movement in this relationship, because the 8 of Wands is that it's movement, but it's something that comes very suddenly. It's almost like a surprise, like the Tower. That is probably why this is here, right? right here in the bottom row, saying use your intuition, because, you know, that's what I was telling you with the Knight of Wands as well. Someone could want to move forward very, very quickly. That's eagerness up there with the Knight of Wands, and you've had that card before. You don't want to sabotage what you have unless you've really decided that you want to move, you know, away from your husband. Because I did see some unhappiness in question 1. It was the 4 of Cups and the 8 of Swords. There is some unhappiness there, but then this is kind of eye-opening as well. Like, you know, feeling like, you know, you ruined everything, sabotage, wishing you could erase that, with the High Priestess right next to it saying use your intuition. Let me get, I mean, up here again, someone speaking from the heart, telling you each other exactly how you feel will trigger some movement. Like, you know, again, perhaps moving towards a divorce or being more involved. Let me ask, I've got a few seconds here, about this relationship with Paul, if it's meant to be long term. I'm sure you'd want to know that. Could this relationship with Paul be something long term for Victoria? 8 of Cups. Could this relationship with Paul be something long term for Victoria? Could this relationship with Paul be something long term? Could this relationship with Paul be something long term? I mean, it could be, because I mean, you have the 10 of Cups. That's what I was looking for, something like this, because this is a card of happiness. This is a happily ever after card. It does represent marriage, and you've got a major arcana here, so this is significant energy around you and this person. Again, that's what I was telling you with the Page of Wands, which is under here. He represents a new path for you and a new life, which is right here. The Fool is a new beginning where you're just going to have to trust. You're going to have to listen to, yes, your intuition. The Fool is all about listening to your heart and your intuition. This can lead to something, you know, long term. First, you'd have to make the decision. It's right here to move on. And again, you've had that card before. I think it came up when I asked if you should. I think it was the last few cards that I pulled in question 1. You know, there's something long term here, but there's also fear, holding back. And it could, I feel like this could be you, like, you know, I'm not sure that you're ready to kind of leave that situation with your husband after so many years. I feel like you'd have to be completely sure. Otherwise, that's where this comes in. There could be regrets. Okay, Victoria, this has been your 30-minute reading. Hope this helps you, and thanks for watching.